Hello, my friends. It's Rachel Archelaus, and I have the amazing Courtney here. Yay! Um,
Yay!
I met her. I actually know her in person, which is so rare in these internet days. She still lives in the Phoenix area, and I used to live there. And we would go out for food once in a while and catch up. And we went to this amazing restaurant called Pomegranate, and it's just bringing me back talking to her now. So I'm so excited to have this chat with her and for you because she is just so multifaceted and I feel like has such a good grasp on expression and emotion and business and like the angelic world and the world of sacred sexuality. So there's just going to be so much that we talk about here that you can integrate into your life if it's helpful to you. And also, it'll just be an interesting listen. So, Courtney Faye Long, what is the main thing that's happening in your world right now?
Yeah, well, very interesting question. The main thing happening in my world right now is the last few years I've been teaching about Mariposa, sacred sexuality, and really helping people activate their sexual energy. And sexual energy is not just reserved for the bedroom or for having sex. Our sexual energy is our creation energy, and it's really our life force and our vitality. And so, as I've been teaching Mariposa over the last few years, and I'm seeing people getting these really deep results, not just in their sex lives, but also in their health and their happiness. And someone who went through the Mariposa teachings felt this deep sense of worthiness, and which I thought was amazing because I don't really talk much about worthiness. It's just, or maybe at all, but it's just this felt experience. Like when we connect with our sexual energy, it's a felt experience of really our soul essence. It's like embodying our soul essence or embodying our higher self. And so anyway, what I've been playing with most recently is how our sacred sexuality can also help improve our business for those of us who are entrepreneurs or speakers or authors or coaches or creatives. And so that is my latest divine creation, is bringing sexuality and business success together, and helping to amplify, kind of like to amplify our expression in the world and amplify our results, like so we can reach more people and have more fun and more pleasure and make more money and have more free time and just, oh, it's just incredible.
I love that. I love that so much because one of the first things we ever started talking about when we met each other was like this idea of like unrestricted desire, like we
Yes.
both were in and maybe still are in open relationships and felt the need to like not put walls up in that part of our lives because this flow of energy just felt so powerful and so right and was so helpful in allowing everything else to flow, like abundance and joy and expression and all of that. So I
Yes.
love that you're teaching this and that people are really feeling the effects of that.
Yeah, yeah, it's really incredible. It's like when I mention sacred sexuality, some people just, they're like, what is that? And some people just light up. It's like something inside of them comes alive and they're like, yes, there's more to this than I thought. And it's really cool to see that. It's almost like a soul recognition. Yeah, it's pretty cool because I've taught about angels for years and
Mhm.
fairies as well, and people always got really excited about angels and fairies. But it's like this is excitement to the next level, talking about sacred sexuality. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I love what you said. It's so true. It's like that openness. It feels like openness and expansion and like us being our full selves without limitations and restrictions. And I feel like that's been a big pattern for me throughout my life is I have these bold, bright ideas and I'm like super creative and I'm so different in so many ways. Like I'm just super sensitive and intuitive And like, I was just talking to my mom yesterday about all the things that were so weird about me as a child. Like she always had to wash my clothes. And one time, like before I'd wear them, one time she didn't wash a dress because it was made of velvet, and I broke out in hives, like as a 3-year-old. So anyway, I just feel like I've just always been so weird and different. And then I'm bisexual, and then like, left a traditional career path to create my current business. And so there, but I've always been like trying to restrict myself or trying to fit in. So it's like, as much as my soul wants to expand and I'm like, I'm different, I just want to be different, but I've always had this like equal opposing force trying to kind of like keep myself small and kind of hide from my power. And of course that's not good. And at some point, me keeping myself small led to me having some serious health issues. And it was just working too much too. But anyway, it's like, it's just interesting. I just feel so much more in alignment when I'm just free and just open and just let myself be myself. Because I feel like something that keeps coming to me is how our souls, our higher selves, it's like they're so expansive, and they're just this pure, bright, expansive light, right? And this gorgeous, colorful light. And it's like, you can't like stick a light inside a little box and try to restrict it. And so anytime we're not being open or expansive or expressive, when we're keeping ourselves small or stuck or restricted, it's like, it's just such a disconnect. It's such a, not only like lack of alignment, but it's like, it's almost just like killing our soul. It's like the death of the soul. It's just, it's not good.
Yeah, well, that was a lot that you just shared, and it's like everything you said. I just was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. At the event, we just had the aligned up level, and one of the themes that was coming up with people was like they were feeling afraid of that power that they have, maybe afraid of going for that full expression,
Yeah.
and but at the same time it was on their minds because they could feel their own opposition to themselves. And yeah, like there is such a self created fear around stepping into your full expression because for some reason, I do it too. Whenever we want to be more of ourselves, we always like imagine this like invisible army, or maybe we put these weird judgments and words into people that we know and we put it in their our vision of them. It feels so real of why we can't be
Mhm.
ourselves, and why it won't work out, and why we can never be taken seriously. But like every time I go for it, it's like like no one cares. It's not a big deal. Like, and I get to grow
Mhm.
and have all those positive rewards of it. When you
Yes.
started like doing this, so you made a pretty it's really not a big shift from angels and fairies to sacred sexuality. It's the same base
Mhm.
energy. And you are even doing like like the sexual energy of the fairy realm, and that like you were kind of bridging it when we were last kind of hanging out together. So it wasn't that big of a shift, but did it feel like a huge shift to you when you moved over?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah. It felt like such a huge shift. And I agree. It's like, it wasn't that different from anything I've been teaching, but it was I was so worried about what my clients would think. Um, and just, yeah, like so much fear kicked up of like, what are they going to think of me? And just in general, there's in our society, there's so much shame around sexuality. So it was like all my own shame started getting kicked up of like, is it okay to talk about this? And yeah, yeah. So it's very, very interesting that, yeah. But then like what was interesting was I was struggling with health issues for 5 years on and off. Sometimes it would be worse and sometimes it would be better. But at some point, I was so sick that I literally could not even go for a 10-minute walk. Like I'd walk for 10 minutes slow, and then I'd come home and I'd have to rest on my couch, it was so sad to me at the time. So what I did was I went into this period of surrender, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to rest and take a little time off my business. And when I surrendered, I received all these divine downloads for the sexuality teachings, and like just receiving the downloads lit me up, and I felt so much better and so much more energized. And I still had some physical healing that needed to take place too. It wasn't just like instantaneous, but once I got in alignment with teaching what was truly coming through me, even though I was scared, like once I got in alignment with that, my energy levels just, kept getting better and better. And at some point I was myself again, like I was healthy and happy again. And it's so interesting how that all works. I mean, part of it was, like I said, I was working too much, and that over time, working too much and all that forcing energy led to a health crash. But it was also a matter of alignment. Like I had to honor what my soul wanted to express. And I've had clients who were like disappointed, for sure, that I'm not teaching about the angels anymore. And some clients who are excited about the newer teachings, the sacred sexuality, and some who are like, all right, well, I'm just done with Courtney. And so I just have to like adjust and be okay with that too.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
That's so, like, having seen you through some of that transition, I just love, like, when your images pop up on social media and you're like all there in your full glory and you just look so relaxed and excited. Like, I just love seeing that. So I have a question. So I lived in Phoenix, and is that Mariposa County? Like, because that word is with that region. So at first I just thought you were like starting a regional group, but that word means something else.
So yeah, it's Maricopa County. Maricopa. Yeah, I never even thought of that. It's so close. So I live in Maricopa County in Phoenix, Arizona. And then Mariposa, this is kind of interesting because Mariposa means butterfly in Spanish. And for some reason, when I was a teenager, like right around the time that my sexual energy was like coming on board as a teenager, I was obsessed with that word. Like I've always loved butterflies, but I was like, Mariposa, it's such a cool word, and da da da. And then when I was receiving all these downloads, and I was like, what am I gonna call this new expression? And Mariposa was coming back to me so strongly, so I call it Mariposa Sacred Sexuality. And it's really because the butterfly represents transformation, like the metamorphosis, that a caterpillar goes through when they go into the chrysalis, and they don't change their DNA, but they change how their DNA expresses itself. And, they obviously completely change their body and whatnot. And then they emerge from the chrysalis as this gorgeous butterfly. And when I really tuned into this metaphor, I thought, well, most of us are living like as this limited caterpillar, like where we're just like doing what's expected. We follow the rules, like I said, keeping ourselves small or restricted. But when we actually let ourselves go through this metamorphosis, and when we activate our sexual energy, it's really like deeply activating our authentic self and who we really are, and also really deeply loving ourselves and emerging as the butterfly. Then it's like the butterfly is the fully activated self. So colorful and free and gets to fly around and is so beautiful. And it's like, it just makes me think of how different a butterfly's life is from a caterpillar. A caterpillar is like stuck to this one area, and a butterfly can fly all around. And it's like, isn't it just so, it's like so much the difference between when we're not being ourselves versus when we're fully being ourselves.
Totally. Oh my God, I'm so glad I cleared that up, because now it makes sense. You have butterflies everywhere in your videos.
You can see
in your room. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then fairies have butterfly wings, right? Or they look like butterfly wings. So there's that other connection too, to the angelic realm, the fairy realm, and the butterfly realm, and us letting our own wings spread.
It's just you too. Like, you're never going to get away from fairies and angels because it's what you are. So yeah,
I love it. Yeah. And I thought about that because when I was like, oh wow, I'm not teaching about angels and fairies, but I feel really strongly that the next phase of our spiritual evolution, like literally for all of us, is embodiment. It's like being present in our bodies, because like you teach, it's like our intuition comes through tuning into our body. It doesn't come from some like crazy outer place. It's like we feel and perceive our intuition through our body, and the more we're present in our body, the more we can follow our intuition and like live this amazing, turned on, lit up, joyful life. And so when I think about it, I'm like, I'm just teaching how to embody our energy. So like, for those who resonate with angelic energy, it's like how to embody the angelic energy, or how to embody fairy energy, or however you think of it. It's like how to embody your own light and your own power. And I feel like I love what you mentioned about power, and how so many people in the aligned up level event could, like, they honored and kind of like, I don't know if I'd say revealed, that they are afraid of that power. And I feel like there's just something in there. There's something so beautiful about our power, that when we're fully shining in our power, we just have so much more choice. Whereas I think, like, I know something that's come up for me a lot is I think, well, if I'm fully in my power, there's a wildness to it. Like, I can't control it. It's like, I'm going to do something crazy that's uncontrollable. And it's like, well, really, when we're in our power, it's just amplifying who we are. And so maybe part of that means embracing not just our light and our goodness, but also the shadow, and like letting our shadow be okay. I don't know, but I just, like, when you're saying that, I just felt the beauty of the power. And like, if we could just feel into that almost like softness and sweetness of the power, as well as the oomph and strength, then I feel like maybe it's less scary.
I know, it is interesting. And the way I think about it is that power comes from alignment, and alignment is pure love. So I don't think there's any fear of, for me, I don't think there's a fear of like using power in a negative way, because then you're not in alignment and you don't have the power. And of course, we can look out into the world, and we can think that people with power are doing bad things, but those people don't really actually have any real power. You know, they're acting out of security, they're acting not from a place of alignment. So the repercussions of what they can actually do are actually pretty minimal. When we embody our real selves, this energy that you're talking about, this real power, we're shielded against that. We're creating our own lives, and we feel that security, and we can trust that we'll be navigated around any danger. And I think for me, if there is any fear of when I'm fully embodied, it's like I always want to share my ideas and like get people on board. And like, even if it's just I'm writing movies right now, and it's like, oh my God, you'd be perfect for this. Come join me. This will be so much fun. Um, like an actor or a part of the crew or something. Sometimes I fear like, oh, I'm going to be too much and I'm going to like overwhelm people. But when I really think about it, the people who have come to me fully embodied, lit up with a project they're working on or something to share, it enlivens me too. It boosts my day. It's like, yes, I want to know more people like that. I want to be excited all the time. I want to help and collaborate and share. And so, yeah, like we can fear, I think, change and different. If we're not used to being turned on by our work and lit up all the time, then I think we're sometimes afraid to go there. But I think it's just about getting that momentum going and having that be normal.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, absolutely. And like just it just reminds me of that phrase turned on. It's like turned on all the time, or as much as possible. And right? And it's like, yeah, even just I think of the sexual energy. I mean, I think most people know that feeling of when you're sexually turned on, when you're like, okay, I'm feeling horny. I'm feeling like I want to have sex. And it's like for most of us, that experience, it's like this fleeting little moment or fleeting little tiny part of our week, or for some people our month, it's like this little tiny expression or experience. But it's like, what if we could feel that turned onness every day, like you said about your work, or like how cool is that too? Like when people bring projects to you that they're excited about, that you get excited, and then it's like your energies are just amplifying one another, and all that excitement is building and growing. And it's like we really can feel turned on way more than just once a week or once a month or whatever. We can feel turned on and excited every single day. And that's where our sexual energy, it really is related to our creativity. And when I know I'm in alignment, I feel sexually turned on about my projects. When, like, that's kind of my little, I guess I'd say, ear marker. I call it the O meter. Like when when I feel like really orgasmic and turned on about a project and just super excited and alive, that's when I know that project is for me. But if I just feel like, oh, pretty good about a project, like that's not, kind of like, it's not enough to say yes to that project. So like anything that's not an absolute orgasmic yes, I'm so turned on and excited, then it's a no. Like if it's not an oh yes, it's a no. And that's been really helpful for me, because I tend to have so many ideas and I want to do like 1,000 million things at once. And so that helps me kind of choose where to go next. But yeah, it's so interesting, like how related all these things are. But I think a lot of people don't let themselves feel that
Mhm.
energy, or even just feel what's going on in their body. Just as simple as, like, we're working at our desk, or at our computer on something, and it's like, how does your body feel? Do you feel tired? If so, something's off, right? Unless you just haven't slept much and you need some sleep. But but just
Totally.
yeah, just like
And I
simple
think like
noticing.
most people probably have to work up to the orgasmic feeling too. Like that's my meter too. Like I will feel sexually aroused and like fully tingly all over my body if what I'm working on or an idea I have is worthwhile. And like what I love is that when I get that feeling, I know the outcome as well. So I know how I'm gonna feel while I'm working on it. It also tells me the outcome, because I feel like how you feel about it, how you feel while you're working on it is the outcome. And as
Mm.
good as it feels in my body, I know that's what I'm also creating in my reality. So if I feel that good working on it and thinking about it, it's going to bring things that feel that good. Like the people I work with are going to feel that good. The ideas that someone else brings me, the opportunities that come from it feel that good. The abundance I'm allowing into my life, even if not from that one thing, but from all areas, it matches. Everything has to match. So yeah, if I'm feeling that good, then I don't have to like worry about life. I'm living in well-being and allowing. And yeah, that's like how we can, I mean, it's everything. It's everything. But a lot of people can't feel that right away, and that's okay. It's okay to work up to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Just even taking a moment to just notice your body and notice what's happening. Like, are your shoulders tense?
Yeah.
Stomach, like, is your stomach clenched up, or is that relaxed? Just simple noticing what's happening with your tension levels or relaxation levels, like that. I think that's a good starting place. Yeah.
I
Yeah. And just
remember last year or the year before, I was realizing how tense I was all the time because I started doing some yin yoga. And then when I would go and meditate, I would realize, like, oh my God, my face is like unclenching. Like I clench my face all the time. It was so weird. I had no idea I was that tense all the time until I really like took notice of it and started doing more physical relaxation processes. So yeah, I feel like, I mean, even now I'm sure I'm way more tense than I think I am. It's like I think our whole lives kind of neglect this whole thing, and there's so much that we can reconnect to.
yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah. Oh, it makes me even think of making love to a partner, it doesn't work as well if we're tense, or even just like stress and tension can really lower our sex drive and lower our interest in sex. And it's like when we're making love, especially those of us with female bodies, like when we're making love, then we must be relaxed in order to open and in order to allow the process to unfold. And so it's like, what if it's like that also in life and in business, that yeah, the more that we relax and soften and yeah, allow and just go with the flow. But yeah, I relate to you so much. There's times when I'm like so tense and I have no idea because I'm just like my focus goes into what I'm working on, not into my body. And there's even times when I hold my breath and I don't even realize it. Oh my God, just take a deep breath. Just calm down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely a
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is. And something else just popped up for me when you were sharing that. It made me think of, the process of buying a car, like buying a new car or buying a home, or just like that process of buying something that is a bigger purchase that usually creates like a bigger response inside of us, whether it's excitement or even fear. And I feel like when I'm really in alignment with my projects, I feel a little bit of that feeling of a little bit of fear, but sometimes it's hard to interpret the difference between fear and excitement because it's
Yeah.
all this like, ooh, like a very intense experience in the body. And so it's like going back to that fear of our power. What if it's like just such an intense feeling? What if our power is such an intense feeling, kind of similar to that excitement of buying a new car or the excitement of taking a leap of faith? And it's like, what if we just develop more comfort with that feeling of, it's just a different feeling. It's an intense feeling. And if we're more comfortable with that, then maybe it becomes more comfortable to be in our power. There's something to it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're growing our capacity, and then that becomes more manageable in the body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last month, and kind of like February too, I had so many really cool things coming to me, and I was starting, and I felt all this adrenaline. Like every other day, I just feel that like, oh my God, like that heart pumping, just like body filled with adrenaline, and it wasn't necessarily
Mm.
comfortable. Like you're saying, it was kind of both. It was like, I know this is because I'm excited, but it feels like really intense. And it did subside, I think, as I moved into like doing those things that came to me. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's definitely not always a comfortable rise as you embody your power, but it does make a noticeable difference. I think people can see it. Like I feel more relaxed and I feel more at ease and more secure, and I think that comes across. And you know, the world is going to like treat you differently when you are comfortable with yourself, you know?
Yeah. Big time. Yeah. Yeah. And I think like I love what you said in the aligned up level event about focus. And when we focus on almost like focus more on ourselves and our own vibration and what will make us feel good and what would make us feel even better kind of moment by moment rather than focusing externally on other people. Because I know something that's held me back a lot in my life is just worrying about what others will think. Like I'll have
Mhm.
this amazing divine download and I'm all excited, and then when I'm like, what if people judge me, or what if they think this or that about me, like I go on and on and on. And sometimes in the past, I would let that slow me down or hold me back from actually putting something out there. And many times I just put it out there anyway and just dealt with my uncomfortable feelings. But it's like I just love that because it's like if we stop focusing so much on other people and what they're going to think or what they're going to do or not do around it, it's like then we can really be more authentic um and just really do what feels right to us, and that is so inspiring for other people. And yeah, people can tell the difference, I think, when we're almost like when we're living to try to avoid confrontation or to please them or da da da, walking on eggshells. Like people can feel that compared to like when we're just honoring ourselves. And I feel like, to me, I think the sexiest thing there can be, like the sexiest quality is confidence. It's just like when someone's fully themselves and fully expressing themselves, that is so incredibly attractive. And it's so freeing. It's kind of like the butterfly. It's like, when someone's being a butterfly, that inspires the rest of the caterpillars to be like, look, I can be a butterfly too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in my early 20s, I was not in a good place emotionally. I was married, and it just wasn't like we were just kind of pretending. Like we weren't mature enough to be married, but we were making the most of it. And I had been like a wreck for a few weeks, and then I remember we were at dinner out, and I was ordering. For some reason, I just like clicked into my body, and I was like, I want this, but not this, and I want this. How, like, I was just being very explicit with how I wanted my food to be and asking questions and like confident in the moment. And I remember my partner being like, "Oh wow, you should do that more." Like it really turned him on. And we didn't have a really good sex life, so that was something really special. And I'll never forget that. Like that little tiny bit of being decisive about what I want for dinner was enough
Wow.
to really like show a difference and to spark interest. It was so cool.
That is so cool. That is such a perfect example. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. Yeah. And you totally turned him on.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So I totally agree. Like, one of the pieces of advice that Tim Ferriss gives when you want more autonomy, when you want to change your life, is just start making little decisions. What do you really want to eat for breakfast? What do you want from the store? How do you want your schedule laid out? Or how do you want to do your hair that day? What color do you want to wear? Make as many decisions as you can, because it really builds that muscle of you practicing being you in the world. Like, I think he's talking about embodiment there and confidence, even without those words.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. Yep. Yeah. And I think there's such power in just owning what we want and honoring that, like even those simple things of what do you want to wear, what do you want to eat, and then that energy of just honoring what we want, then that translates to the bigger things, like what kind of car do you want to drive, what kind of life do you want to have, what do you want to do with your day, what kind of business do you want, what kind of partnership do you want, if you want a partnership, do you really want a monogamous partnership, do you actually want to be a little more open or super open and polyamorous. It's like there's so many possibilities, and I think it's just such a matter of honoring ourselves and really giving ourselves permission to explore what the possibilities are and like what really would light us up the most without restricting ourselves and keeping ourselves small like a caterpillar. Yeah. Yeah. So interesting. Yeah. Because I feel like that kind of goes back to our fear of our power is I feel like a lot of people, I know I've had this and I've seen it in clients too, like a lot of people have a fear of what they really want.
Hmm.
Not only like, and also a disbelief that they can have what they want. But like, let's just say the common example of money, of like someone saying, well, I really want to be making X amount of money, but then almost like afraid of that or afraid to go for it, and so it's like when we're really in our power, then we also honor what we really want and we go for it in a loving way, not a forceful way, but in a loving way.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know. It's so
Yeah.
interesting how that works. Like, I had that experience I always wanted to make more money. And even when I was doing well and having all I need and more, like I kind of felt like, okay, well, there's still more. And I
Mhm.
tried all these like conventional ways of like, advertising and doing a lot of just what everybody says to do. And I think I had something like that happening because I had plateaued for a couple of years of like it's still really good. I'm still really happy. Like it's a really wonderful situation, but I just feel like there's more. And maybe a
Mhm.
part of me thought that I'd have to be different in order to have more or something because it wasn't really
Mhm.
flowing. And then when I kind of gave up on it and just decided, okay, well, I'm actually interested in all these other things. So I'm going to kind of put less attention on this main business and just more on where I know I want to be going and do everything but not have like I guess so much seriousness, which is a really
Mhm.
red flag for me, but and totally focus on love and my vibration. Actually this year my only metric is love. Like, am I in love with what I'm doing? Am I feeling love in the moment? Am I feeling open? And my income has doubled this year. And so it's like, you know,
Wow.
and I know all this stuff. Like, I know all of this alignment and calibration, but things can be so subtle. So, anyway, the reason I'm telling this is because it was more about stepping into more relaxation and more fulfillment and expression. It wasn't anything about doing the business differently,
Mm.
probably. I know you have a webinar coming up. Actually, yeah, tell us about that because it probably fits perfectly with this.
Yeah. Well, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for what you said. So I'll talk about the webinar. Then I want to comment too. I have a webinar coming up. It's called Make Love and Make Millions.
Nice.
And the subtitle is Five Secrets to Skyrocket Your Business Results with Mariposa Sacred Sexuality. And I'm going to be sharing the link between our sexuality and our business success. And then also, yeah, exactly. Like I'm going through in the webinar my 4 glow steps. And then there's a pre-step, a foreplay step beforehand. It's all about pleasure. And so before we can glow, we must really embrace pleasure. And pleasure is like there's so many different ways to enjoy pleasure. There's definitely sexual pleasure. There's also sensual pleasure and everyday pleasure, just like the joyful things that we enjoy, like a cup of delicious tea or coffee, or like really savoring a sunset or smelling a flower, just like listening to great music, just all those forms of pleasure. And it's like when we enjoy all that pleasure, first of all, it brings us more into alignment because then it actually brings us into our feminine energy. Whereas, like, we're so many of us are used to being on our masculine energy of doing and achieving and being busy and giving. And that's very beautiful and important. But when we don't balance it with our feminine energy and with pleasure, it's like then we're missing half the equation. But then we can't really hear our intuition because the feminine energy helps us to receive intuitive guidance, and the masculine energy takes action on the intuitive guidance. So like if we're not hearing our intuitive guidance, then basically we're just like taking a bunch of action that's unnecessary, for one thing, because it's just like what you said, kind of like what we think we should do, or advertising, or doing all these business strategies that, well, it must work because it works for all these other people, but it doesn't work for everybody, and so like when we're listening and enjoying those beautiful activities, like whether it's going for a walk, or whether it's doing arts and crafts, or it's listening to music or dancing, like all those things that seem non-business like, like it seems like it has nothing to do with business. But when we're enjoying those pleasurable activities, then we're just more open, we're more free, and it helps us also integrate energy. But it's also like when the most amazing ideas can just drop in when we're not trying. Yeah. Yeah. So there's practical reasons to to have
Yeah.
fun. Yeah. Yeah.
And when is it?
Yeah, it's this Wednesday, April 7th at 4 p.m. Pacific, Arizona, 5 p.m. Mountain. And I'm also going to have a replay too, because I
Okay.
know not everybody can attend live. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And I'm also going to talk about millions. Like, I'm so excited because when this title came to me, it's Make Love and Make Millions. And it's this idea that we really can skyrocket our income and also our gifts, like our expression in the world, and help more people. And it's really about giving ourselves permission to want what we want, whether that is millions of dollars or like to create millions of smiles in the world, or it doesn't have to be even the number millions, but it's just that sense of like, what is our dream, or almost like a forbidden dream, like something we really truly want if we're honest with ourselves, but we're not fully going for it or giving ourselves permission to have it. Is like this, it's forbidden, but the only one forbidding it from ourselves is ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, so millions kind of represents that forbidden dream that when we just own it and own our desires, then we can actually create that and it can be our reality. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah, well, I'll include info about your webinar here. If you guys
Oh,
were
thank
recording
you.
this on Monday, I'll probably be able to get it up today. So,
Awesome.
yeah, go take it. I'll probably be there if I can, if it's clear on my schedule, or at least watch the replay. It sounds awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm going to go into like lots more specifics, but it's going to be fun. Fun. That's the most important part too, right? Is it's going to be fun.
Talking to
Yeah.
you is so refreshing.
Oh my gosh. And you too. It's so nice to see you. It's so funny because I was just at Pomegranate Cafe just last week. Yeah, a couple times. And I thought of you. I was like, we met here so many times. And just, yeah, it just was so fun. I'm so happy, like you said, that we could meet each other in person in our online world. It was like so magical how someone, our mutual friend in Oregon connected us and was like, you don't know each other and you both live in Phoenix.
I know, and I've never even met Cynthia in person. So
Yeah.
I've never met Carrie in person. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh, isn't that crazy? I got to meet Cynthia, our lovely friend Cynthia, who introduced us. I got to meet her because she came to Phoenix for an event. So it was like 3 years ago, I think we got to play together and go to Sedona for the day. But yeah, it's such a treat to like be in person. Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just honor you so much, Rachel, for everything you've created. I remember getting to meet your lovely van, Gertie, and just like when you were ready for your next adventure and traveling and seeing where that took you and just like everything you've created. And so excited you're writing screenplays. Like that's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those big O's for me. It's like, yeah, I didn't know I'd ever be here, but when it came into my life, it just made so much sense. Like, I've always been a writer, but and I've tried writing a few stories a few different ways over the years, but when I came onto screenwriting, I was like, oh, this is the way that I can write these stories, and that it like really works for me and makes the most sense. So I've just been busy ever since, writing away, and we're gonna be producing some stuff this summer. So I'm gonna be hopefully in some festivals next year. So it'll
Oh
be
my gosh. That's amazing. Oh
yeah.
my gosh, I can't wait to hear. Yeah, I would love to watch them. Oh my gosh. And I love the connections because I was just telling my partner Mike a couple of days ago. I told him that you're writing screenplays and doing screenwriting. And I was like, when I wrote my first book, like, I don't know, it's almost 10 years ago now. At the time, I really envisioned, I was like, I'd love for this to be a movie. And then I have like so many books that I'm kind of like half writing. I need to actually complete them. But anyway, I have another one. I'm like, I'd love for this to be like a movie or a TV series or something. So maybe I'll talk to you about it and hire you to help.
Well, it's so
For
funny
fun.
because somebody has already. So I guess I'm open for business. It's so funny how it happened. I wasn't like advertising any of my services anywhere, but I was talking about it because I'm excited about it. And
Mm-hmm.
someone approached me to put their memoir into a screenplay format, and so I'm working on that right now, and it's so much fun. It is amazing, and it really is connective. Like getting to see like her childhood pictures now that she's shared with me, so I can get a better feel for it, and like
Wow.
really be in there with her story, and it's really cool. Like I didn't know this was coming either, and it's really fun.
It's so cool.
I know.
Yeah, I love it. And it makes so much sense. Like with all your writing experience and publishing experience, it's just like, it's so cool. It's just like, this feels like a fuller expression of your gifts. And, but yeah, who knew? Who would know that you would go here or want to? And like, it sounds like it's been super fun.
Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't do it if it wasn't, for sure. Especially with writing, it's so hard to write if you're not really into it. So
Oh my God.
you can't really fake that, like, you know.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, do you have time for me to ask you one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Almost been going for an hour, but I could talk to you for hours more.
It's been an hour already. I would never guess.
So, what do you think about like sexual expression? Because maybe especially for females, I'm not sure. Like we have this
Mhm.
media portrayal of like overly sexually expressed females where, and I mean overly as in like that has been written for them to do that. Like that's not necessarily an authentic sexual expression of themselves. Like they're being a character or doing what their manager says or something, and they're showing it all. And then there's like the absolutely it's wrong to show like any part of your skin because your body is a temple or no one is supposed to see it, or you might arouse men, so cover it up. And I'm kind of like a person who has been all over the board with that, kind of. I grew up feeling like super modest. Like I wore collars up to here until I was like at least 20 years old. And not because my parents cared, but because I kind of felt that. I developed really early, and like 21-year-olds were hitting on me when I was 12, and it was like somebody
Wow.
called me jailbait, and I was like, "Oh, that can't be a good thing. So I better put walls up." But I'm also just like a really expressive person. Like I'm always like the first one to like take my clothes off and go swimming, or like you know, just be free. I always loved being free. So
Mhm.
you've been sharing more images of like yourself in lingerie or just like frolicking.
Mhm.
And how is that for you? And does that feel like reclaiming a part of yourself? Because I want to be there, but I'm not necessarily like you, but in my own way. How does that feel?
Yeah, yeah. I really, overall, it feels wonderful. And I really relate to you about being all over the board with it because I love having boudoir photo shoots. I had my first one, interestingly, like 10 years ago when I released my very first book. I was having pictures taken for the cover of my book, and the pictures for the cover of the book, like I had a long sleeve dress on, below my knees, like it was like fully covered up. But and then I had this gorgeous rainbow flag behind me. It was fun. But then I also knew that the photographer did boudoir shoots, which are more like sexy bedroom photos. So I was like, well, I want some of those too, just for my personal self. And I couldn't believe, while I was having the photos taken, I couldn't believe this like incredible power, like feeling of my power that came forth. I felt my strength and I felt my sexual energy, and it was like an incredibly healing experience for me. I thought I was just doing it for fun, but during the photo shoot was incredible. And then after seeing the images, and it was like, wow, that's a really important part of me that I never felt fully comfortable expressing. And so I never thought I would ever share the photos, publicly by any means. But now when I share some of the boudoir photos, like in lingerie, it's a good feeling. Like my point in sharing it is that it's okay for us to embrace our sexuality. And And so that part of it feels really good. Then I'll have moments though where I'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe I posted that. Like, oh, what am I thinking? You know, and then I get all modest and like disgusted almost, like, because that's that old sexual shame that I feel like most of us, if not all of us, have had some level of shame around our sexuality because we grew up in a sex negative culture that like taught us somehow sexuality is bad or dirty or wrong. But then, yeah, then like you said in the media, then we have sometimes like women just putting it all out there or women being like overly sexualized. So we kind of have this extreme in our society of like complete purity and modesty. And then like, you know, like a sexy woman being utilized to like, you know, advertise perfume or just some like random product. So it's like such extremes. But so for me, like when I'm in alignment, I feel good about it. And then when I sink into any shame, I'm like, oh no, I shouldn't be doing that. But I feel like sexual expression is it's really like a felt experience of like what feels good to us in any moment. And like we can be fully clothed, like literally even with a turtleneck, we can be totally covered up and still be like so feeling our juicy creative sexual energy, and it's still like oozing from us. So it's like our society is kind of related nudity or like, you know, being scantily clad to sexy, but that's not necessarily true because it's like if confidence really is what's sexy, like someone being their authentic self. Maybe one moment they want to be fully covered up. Another moment they feel like wearing some like I have a dress on today. It has like, you know, a little bit of openness and that just feels good. And so to me, I think our sexual expression is more of how do we feel and then expressing how we feel, not about the external, not about how are we going to look or what are people going to think. It's just more of what do we feel that we want to express and letting ourselves do that. Yeah. Does that answer the question?
No, really, totally makes sense. Yeah. I just wanted to get your take on that. It's how I feel too. I just haven't been as brave yet as you. But it's coming because I've always been interested in this and what like feeling like it's part of my art. And I have done some I have some done. See how it's going? It's bringing up all kinds of things.
Yes.
I have done some art where I've sketched myself and like put words around it and kind of made collages and essentially showed my body. And I loved it and people loved it. And I feel like there's just always going to be new frontiers that we feel for ourselves. And it's okay if it takes time to get in there. I'm just excited about going there and in the perfect way. And like you said, if I stay in alignment and just focus on me and how I feel, then it'll be perfect. And not to worry when I switch into fear for a moment or two, because it's probably going to happen and that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And even just like doing it for yourself first, where nobody even sees it, like that, whatever that looks like, if it's a sketch or a photo or just even like wearing something sexy, just that only you see and that you're just like walking around in something that makes you feel sexy, whatever that is, you know, it could be a fully clothed, but you feel sexy in it, or it could be something that our society would traditionally think of as sexy, like lingerie or something see-through. But I'm just saying, like, just getting in the feeling of it first, and then if you feel inspired to share with anyone, even a few friends, you know, it kind of like that gentle, soft approach. And then at some point, if you feel like sharing with more people, great. But you don't have to. Like, I love that. It's just like, we don't have to do anything. But I think it's like for many people, even just having their photo taken, not sexy, just like even having a, you know, a bright smile in a photo, that can feel threatening for some people, you know, like, I feel like it's just like the more and more we love ourselves, the more willing we are to be seen and then to be loved by others. And, you know, another common, I mean, I won't go on here just for the sake of time, but another common thing is like, I know so many women who they don't want to be sexy because of, like you were saying, unwanted advances from others, or like they, especially women who have had those unwanted advances or maybe even sexual abuse. It's like, you're like, no, I can't be sexy. Like I should turn that part of myself off. But it's like when we really are shining our soul, and we really are sexy because we're sexual beings, we're creative beings, we're sexual beings. And it's like, it's all part of that whole self-acceptance and self-love when we just honor it's okay to be a creative sexual being, and it's beautiful, and it's okay to be seen that way too.
Yeah. Well said, Courtney. Oh my gosh. It's 2:29 and we started at 1:29. So guys, if you're listening, let me know. You want Courtney to come back? What do you want to talk about? We could talk about a lot of stuff. So if you like this topic of like sexual exploration, even we could have conversations about open relationship. I'm just inviting you into this
Yes.
podcast that we're creating, Courtney. So
I love it. Yes, I would love to.
energies and how they relate to each other, and all kinds of stuff. We could go there, and I love this conversation. So thanks for watching, everybody, or listening wherever you are. And leave a comment for Courtney and ask any questions that you have because we can follow up. And go to her webinar for sure. It's going to be awesome.
Woohoo. Thank you.
Thanks, Courtney.
Yeah, it's so fun. Thank you. And thank you, everybody. And I'm just so happy to connect with you all. And thank you, Rachel, for having me. And yeah, this is such a fun, magical conversation.
Totally. All right. We'll talk soon.